Good afternoon. CHamoru Land Trust Commission regular board meeting Thursday, June 20th, 2024. The time is 1:05 p.m. CHamoru Land Trust location is in room 590 South Marine Tour Drive, ITC Building, Suite 223, second floor, Tamuning, Guam. Public comments may be made at the CLTC admin at cltc.guam.gov. To review the meeting virtually, log on to Government of Guam Live, YouTube, or CLTC Facebook page on Google Meet, joining info video call link, https://meetgoogle.com DTB PCZINBK $HS equals 224. This meeting is now called to order. A quorum must be present. So I start with David Herrera, Earl J. Rito, Joey Cruz,
Present.
Attorney Miller.
Here.
Thank you. Arlene Verdali, Chair. Present. Public notice requirements. The Guam Daily Post was published on June 13, 2024 and June 18, 2024. The website, as mentioned earlier, and CLTC Facebook page. We would like to do the interface, which is not mentioned in the agenda. Stand.
You also want to.
Inipresi gini ni masakilo di lasokru masakilo ni corazón dari mas figo na nacional. O presidente Brasil para ver depende ninguém cultura e linguagem ai ganha dedicado CHamoru e chasco direction Jesus também. Este o afirma e digo e diga da bandeira e bandeira Guam.
Administrative Director's Report, starting with all this.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commission members, for providing this opportunity to present the Administrative Director's Report. The first item on the report is I would like to introduce to you the participants of the 2024 Governor's Summer Youth Employment Program. These are the 5 students behind me. They'll introduce themselves.
I am Leanne Slab. I'm Jackie Cook.
I am Jordan Columna.
I am Isabel Escalera.
The next item on the director's report is we want to give you an update on Med Farm. We are just waiting for Guam EPA to schedule the site inspection. We will be accompanying Guam Guam EPA during their site inspection in relation to the activities that regarding Net Farm's unauthorized usage of the CHamoru land trust lot located directly behind them. The next item on the director's report is global recycling. We will be conducting a site inspection tomorrow afternoon, maybe about 1:30, 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. During our site inspection, we will be conducting assessments of and taking pictures of unaddressed storage of metallic waste and other items that are currently being stored at Global Recycling. And after that, after our inspection is done and our assessment is done, if need be, we will request the inspections of other regulatory agencies such as Guam EPA and BPW if need be. The next item is, we spoke about our compliance campaign that we have engaged with the Mayor's Council President, Mayor Jesse Alec. Tomorrow, I will be meeting with Chief Ignacio of Guam Police Department to explain our campaign, our compliance campaign, and how and in what areas GPD may be able to assist us with our compliance campaign. The next item is yesterday I believe it was, we just received 2 bills from Speaker Talahi. The first bill is Bill 245-37. It's an act to amend subsection 6A 107 of Chapter 6A, Title 18, Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations relative to the switching of application types of the CHamoru land trust leases. And then we also have Bill 246-37, which is an act to amend subsection 6A 117 of Chapter 6A, Title 18, Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations relative to the lease award of CHamoru land trust leases. The speaker is requesting for comments and testimonies regarding these 2 bills. Unfortunately, because it was not published, it won't meet the requirements, although it doesn't prevent the board from wanting to discuss these 2 bills. It'll just, without the proper notification, the board just can't make a decision on them.
Madam Chairman, members, I might suggest it with regard both pieces of legislation in the event that any of you are individually visiting with members of the legislature about these particular bills. You might suggest and encourage them to amend the bills to include a retroactivity clause. The bills are great, and they address several issues that we're all aware of exist within the current lease portfolio. But if these bills become law, these changes in law won't allow us to sort of look back to people who have obtained various variances in their relationship with the trust, unless the legislature specifically permits the commission to look back, to address legal questions retroactively. So if any of you are speaking with your friends and colleagues at the legislature, please encourage them to include a retroactivity clause.
Is that also known as the grandfather?
Yes.
Same language or same group? Okay, thank you so much.
If any of the board members had reviewed the law. We'll take notes of your concerns and
We have a short question on C, chapter 4637, C. So that would be the add-on of this bill, that's the amendment?
yes.
So in the event that the applicant is unable to provide sufficient proof, as stated, the commission may proceed to process next. So take for example, number 6, we will stop at number 6, so, but number 6 has been already ratified, or the public law.
Again, that public law did not include a grandfather clause.
Okay, that's the retroactive clause. So how can we do that as a board to add into the rules, to the GAR? I mean, is it in our jurisdiction to do an add-in, to add retroactive?
There is a process that the board can take, which is a AAA process, to create our own policies. Although, because the grandchild identification through successorship was done through law, there'll be a conflict between what we try to add in the GAR versus what's in the Act. And to my understanding with discussions with various attorneys, our previous attorneys, is the Act supersedes the GAR. So when we try to apply the board's desire of adding or trying to retroactively apply the inclusion of a grandchild in the successorship, it will conflict with the Act, which the Act will supersede. And if I'm wrong, then Attorney Bennett.
No, you're not wrong at all, and frankly, should these bills, either of these bills, become law without a grandfather clause, it makes it more difficult for the commission to try and address issues and leases in the past, because the legislature will have said, well, from this date forward, think about these leases this way. Well, that also means for all the leases that came before, you got to think about it that way. And there's no, if these changes in law are made, you'll have very little regulatory flexibility to try and solve historical problems.
So the historical issues that we have with the void and voidables would still be under the void and voidables.
If it's not addressed by law, then, as you're saying, everything is status quo. There'll be two mindsets, prior to the law and after the enactment of the law.
Yes. And just so you all understand, if you are talking to senators, exactly what the magic words are, you should be asking for is to, for example, in this new language C, if the legislature simply amended new C to say, you know, from and after January 1, 2015, January 1, 2010, pick a date. If they give us a date back in time and say, from that date, the commission can go forward forever and ever, then it's all good.
Until it was ratified at that date, when it's signed by the government, right?
Right. So, and the same thing with the other bill. If the if the bill were to say, from and after January 1, 2010, an applicant may request a switch of application type, or 2005, pick out of whatever date is the right date. But if the legislature specifies a date backwards and says from that date back there, all the way up till now, you have the authority to do this new, make these new changes, then we can look at all the existing leases and fix them.
Can you provide the language?
For a resolution.
Sure, as I said, the language is simply from and after,
Yes.
pick a date.
From
Would it be appropriate to
1995.
say from inception of the CLPC until December 31st, 1995? Because we don't have any leases, we're stuck right now at December 2nd or 3rd?
December 2nd.
So there's no leases after that because we haven't processed any.
Well, but you want these changes to apply tomorrow. Hopefully, if they made the changes, we would start processing more leases. And people tomorrow and next month and next year might want to make these changes as well. And we want to give them the opportunity. So we don't need to put an end date on it, but we do need to put a start date on it. So from and after, December 1st, 1995, an applicant may, once in his or her lifetime, transfer.
Now, I have a question about the bill. I didn't see anything that would substantiate a switch. And if a switch was made, what happens to the placement of the person that requested the switch?
Switch in lease type or switch in priority?
Date and time.
We go to section D on
The bills,
yeah, 245 section D. That would be the switch. Requirement would be an emergency. If an emergency exists, you see that bill on section D? Second sentence.
what neither bill addresses the question of people who were granted a lease out of date and time priority. Those people still have a problem. We're still going, even if both bills become law, there's still a problem. We're still going to have to do something about that. What these bills address is the people who switched from agriculture to residential, that they were in the right priority, but they switched what the kind of lease they wanted. And then subsection D allows people who are still in the right place in line, but they can give their place in line to a relative.
Yeah, yes, but I guess my question is, what happens to their placement when they give it to a relative?
If I may, once the applicant, and how it had happened in the past, when the applicant switched date and times, applicant A will take applicant B's date and time, and applicant B will absorb applicant A's date and time.
So this is only on the applicant mode, not less lease mode.
Correct.
Right. These are not the people that had a ratified lease that have switched. And this is where these things going to be resolving those issues, right? The retroactivity, because those that have switched and were given a lease are in violation or not in compliance with. Right,
Yeah.
so this is
To address
to
that,
address, yeah, the ones that were given a lease.
who switched date and times.
Right, yes.
So if I may, Madam Chairman, members of the board, where you have a leaseholder who got their lease by switching their place in line with somebody else. And let's say that lease was granted in 2010. But we get the language which says, from and after December 1st, 1995, if that applicant, who's in fact a leaseholder, comes in and says, well, back in 2010, here was the emergency that required the swap, and you all go, yes, that sounds like an emergency, you're approved, then problem solved. On the other hand, if you don't approve their claim of emergency, then frankly, they should leave the property.
Status quo?
Right.
All those cases where applicant passes away, and then the second applicant takes the place of the original applicant. And the second applicant is not within the third consanguinity. Remember, we do have a case like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a fourth cousin, right? And then they will issue the lease. And this fast forward today, after 5 or 10 years, that particular applicant that switched because of the original applicant passing away, build a home, got a mortgage, 10 years into the 30-year amortization. Now with this bill, resolve that particular case.
No,
So even if we add the retroactivity clause,
I think we need to, they may need to be consideration to remove the third degree of consanguinity requirement, because I don't believe that everybody who did switch application date and time have any relation within the third consanguinity. There may be some, but there's also some that are not. And to your example, that individual is not within the third consanguinity of relation to the deceased applicant. Just through, I remember that case very well, and just through what was provided to us, that individual is not.
yeah. So in addition to that additional bar, was that it mentioned that if there was no beneficiary noted, that the commission may make the determination.
That's correct.
So would that
No,
suffice that?
because there's after that, it's within the named line of succession.
Oh, I see.
So,
When they switched.
no, so
Oh.
if a lessee does not name a successor, the board can come in through that authority within the act or the GAR to name a successor to that lease. Although within the listed individuals or relatives within the line of succession. So currently, it's husband or spouse, children,
Yeah.
widowers of the brothers and sisters, siblings, grandchildren now, but and nieces and nephews. So the cousin of the deceased will not fall within that line of succession.
Even if the board designates the cousin.
Yes, because the board also has to follow the line of succession order
I see.
or relation.
So to resolve that would be the modification of the successorship line,
To add
right?
another relative.
Yes, so maybe our attorney can insert that language because there may be more in that category.
There possibly could be, but I guess the board's gonna have to decide, at what point do you draw the line? Do you wanna remove that and any eligible applicant? Or do you wanna add and extend the line of succession, but to what end, right? Do you stop at first cousin, second cousin, or?
On the applicant stage, or even on the lessee?
On the
stage?
successorship of a lessee.
Lessee, understand. Okay. I know last meeting we discussed this with the Wamausi, right, that in the event of a foreclosure, that to not foreclose, we look at the successorship category. If they're qualified, right, to continue the mortgage
If they're
versus.
able to. I believe also the discussion was to have the named beneficiary a co-borrower of the loan.
Okay.
But our concern was that what if the lessee comes in to change their beneficiary?
The
That-
co-borrower,
Then that current co-borrower is not entitled or eligible even to succeed that lease, but has to continue to pay. That was,
the co-borrower to
yes,
continue.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe attorney can have in that simple language.
And we'll work with Attorney Miller. I don't know if there'll be enough time to compile any additional comments or recommendations or amendments to the current bill to be able to present to the board, and then get it to the legislature prior to their public hearing.
That would be amended on 245. Yes, right? Yeah, 245 switch.
There are two bills that were shared with us from the Speaker's office. But we'll go over it. We won't only consider one type of amendment, we'll consider multiple, so at least the board has choices. And choices that could resolve all of our issues. But please note that one of the issues that cannot be resolved or will not be resolved even through amendments is, or maybe I could be wrong, but the unregistered property.
Okay.
There still needs to be land registration.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I believe the issues that we've identified in the past and the corrective actions that have been assembled to address those potentially will resolve at least 98% of our issues. But like I mentioned earlier, we'll work with Attorney Miller, and we'll come up with several types of amendments for the board to consider. And we'll provide a simple explanation as to how these amendments can be applied to resolve the issues.
And it will be for you all to decide what's the fair, what's the equitable thing to do between the people who got out of line in the past and the people who have been in line for many years. For example, the legislature could, it would be perfectly legal for the legislature to say, Chamorro Land Trust cannot lease unregistered land. That's the current law. They could then say, however, if the Chamorro Land Trust did lease unregistered land, the land trust may permit the lessee to register that property by, December 31st, 2025, and anybody who had a lease on unregistered property who couldn't fix the registration by December 31st, 2025, has to get on.
By 2025.
I'm just making these dates up because it's good to make the law.
Okay.
You get to pick, so it would be up to the legislature to pick what these dates are in the past and what these dates are in the future to allow people to fix the problems that we all know exist.
And in the interim, the applicant or the lessee may continue occupying and may continue paying the mortgage, amortized for that. And then when 2025 deadline comes and the property is still not register, then we amend the amendment.
Or even to, without putting a date, until it's registered.
Yeah,
Or, you know, something to that effect, but it's just examples, but, like we mentioned earlier, we'll provide several, proposed amendments and, with some explanation into how it would address our current issues that we're dealing with today.
so there's no date for public hearing yet on this.
It wasn't in the email, it
So
just
then-
requested for comments and amendments,
So we may have time to do our work session, our amendments and
hopefully, yes.
modification.
Attorney Miller, 245, 37, that's addressing successorship, correct?
Switching. 245 is switching. On applicants.
Yeah, in 245, 37, there's no the proposed changes don't require there to be any of your relatives involved in making this law go. It's that the applicant can switch lease type and the applicant can switch their place in line with somebody else. It's 246-37. Yeah, no,
I think the first.
yeah, no, as Joey pointed out, if you're gonna switch your place in line, you have to switch your place in line to a relative.
But that's, you're reading that from 245 or 246?
245.
That's on, D, under D.
Okay.
On
Because,
the applicant, no.
I wanted clarification on D, page 2D. It says an applicant may, once in his or her lifetime, transfer or switch their applicant date and right times to a qualified applicant in the third degree.
Right, so that, what D on page 2 says is I can switch my place in line with a relative that's within 3 degrees of relations to me. I can't switch my place with a member of the public.
If there's an
And the commission has to, and for the switch to be legal, the commission has to agree an emergency exists. But it's up to you to decide what an emergency is.
And it's a one-time deal.
Once in your lifetime,
And that too we can amend.
Sure.
Right, because it's a 99-year, it's a perpetual kind of lease. I mean, give it some thought, yeah. But still on the applicant mode, right, not lease.
Well, it would lead to the, normally, and what I've, from the past, and what had transpired was, everybody who switched application date and time was issued a lease right after. So like, for example, me and Attorney Miller, we were both applicants. I wasn't ready, but I was ready to be awarded a lease. I would switch with Attorney Miller, and then he'll be awarded a lease. That's how it took place in the past. But nonetheless, if we were just applicants further down the list, based on this section D, we would only be able to switch one time. And if there was an emergency that was acceptable to the board, if we were related to the third consanguinity.
Yeah, but then that would negate the one time. Correct?
switch one time, then the switcher gets a lease that finalizes that transition. That one-time switch.
So, number 7 could switch with number 1000 once in their lifetime. But number 7 is gonna be stuck
Like 1,000.
at position 1000, and you can't switch again.
Yeah, well, a switch is going to be considered, or is going to be defined as both parties. So number 7 and number 1000 switch, that's it for their lifetime on the
That's-
lease.
That would be my understanding.
It's not a switch that's going to be credited to number 7 and Mr. 1000 can switch later on.
Do we know what the basis was for the switch? I mean, what was the origin? I mean, I'm trying to think back when the author was, this was 12-226, right? This came from 12-226.
I don't think in the original law there was a to switch
So
application.
this is a GAR? This is from GAR?
No, the GAR and the Act was silent on the switching of application type.
The switching is brand new
Yeah.
language.
From the government administrative rules and regulations?
No, it's a proposed amendment to the law, to the statute on processing applications.
And the statute is 12-226. Right now, the original
Yes.
public law?
Yes, but everything in the law has been codified into the Act.
Which is chapter 75A.
75 and 75A, correct.
Right, okay.
But the 245-37 is adding a section in the
Chapter 75.
6A107, which is the GAR.
Also,
Yeah.
under our rules and regulations, which we have as commission to add or delete or modify in accordance with,
Through the AAA process, correct.
tied in with the chapter 75.
Not
With the
everything,
statute.
not everything in the GAR is in the Act. The GAR is really our rules and regs. It's almost like our,
Yeah, standard.
like SOP
operating-
almost, to follow. But if in the event the GAR should contradict the Act should supersede the GAR.
Okay. And the board can add in to the GAR. if
Through a
it's
process.
Yeah, if it's in compliance with.
Through a
chapter
process.
75. Okay, Lisa wants.
I think, Attorney Miller, if it's possible, if you can provide some insight on, if in the event the board decides to include any language and try to retroactively, for it to be retroactively applied, will there be any legal ramifications if it's done that way?
There's always some risk that when the commission and the legislature and the government of Guam try and make legal things that when they happened were illegal, that somebody down the line in the list of applications could sue and say, wait just a minute. You should have, those leases were illegal, you should have kicked all those people out, and if you would have kicked all those people out, my number would have come up. And it's not fair that you let these bad people who did these bad things keep their lease. Meanwhile, I'm stuck out here in, number 500. And we'll just have to see if that person shows up.
The plaintiff, now we have 2,900 leases, we're still stuck at magic number 666. So therefore, we have a possible class action lawsuit from 2,800 and
Well, now, you could get the lawsuit going the other direction. You could get the lawsuit which says, my grandfather got the lease in 2000. I have no idea how my grandfather wound up with the lease, but my grandfather got the lease in 2000. When he passed in 2002, he passed the lease to my mother. When my mother passed in 2006, she passed it to me. We've done everything the lease says we're supposed to do. We've made every payment we're supposed to make. And it's not fair, just like the people number 500 could say it's not fair, you didn't kick all those people who jumped the line out. The people who got the lease in 2020 and who have been doing all the right things could say, it's been 10 years, it's been 15 years, I've been here, I've done all the right things. I don't know what happened way back then, but it's not fair to me that you come now 10, 15, 20 years later and try and kick me off. And those people could bring a lawsuit.
okay. Thank you.
So Madam Chair, like I said, we'll work with Attorney Miller. We'll come up with several amendments, and then we'll present it to the board for consideration. And we'll also provide an explanation as to what the amendments will do, whether it's to extend the line of succession to account for also people who are not within the line of succession, the current line of succession, whether they're outside of the third consanguinity of relation. But we'll provide explanation so at least the board is well informed of what the intentions are of the proposed amendments. So with that discussion, that concludes the Administrative Director's report. Madam Chair, with the lengthy discussions we had on these, the intentions of these bills, we would recommend for consideration to the board that all the items on the agenda today be tabled. All the items except for one. And the reason for our recommendation to the board is each and every individual lessee that's named on this agenda has an issue or anomaly surrounding their lease award. So authorizing any further improvements or actions to their lease award will cause may potentially cause a higher liability that the commission already will incur. The only applicant or the only lessee that we asked to be heard is Mr. Victor Andrew Sahagan. Mr. Sahagan is not requesting for, Mr. Sahagan's request is only for a letter stating that he will not be able to build on his unregistered property which would be issued to SBA. From what I've learned is Mr. Sahagan, I believe, had requested to transfer that SBA loan, and he'll be able to use that to build on his private property. And the reason why we bring it to the board is because the board is has the authority to grant authorizations to apply for a building permit. So we request that the board consider our recommendation and to table all the items except for Mr. Sahagan.
And that's to,
So,
Mr. Saul will have a loan guarantee? Yes. Yes, sir.
I believe he does, but they're going to, I guess, rescind or terminate the loan guarantee. Mr. Sahagan will take that, his SBA application or award, and apply it to his private property where he'll be able to construct the home. The commission will not be liable for his loan.
you said his private land?
Yes, we just learned that he owns private property, or his spouse does. So it'll be used on his spouse's private property
That would be SBA's
with the SBA funding.
criteria.
Yes.
What about the property that's under CHamoru?
That property is unregistered.
Oh,
Has that property been developed at all?
He's just farming on
Based on site inspections, the staff has identified that Mr. Sahagan has been farming.
So it's an agricultural lease?
Yes, correct.
Okay, you need a motion to, not to discuss it first, the new business.
We can go in the order if that's what the board decides. If the board decides to table, then I believe we'll go into order.
Well, let's hear Mr. Sahagan's case first, and then we'll decide whether to table.
Okay. So we'll move to 5A6, which is Mr. Sahagan.
And first, on the new business, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are just loan guarantees or?
Loan guarantee request.
So this
Why
one,
would he need a loan guarantee if he's gonna build in a different?
Oh, no. To Commissioner Herrera's, he was asking
the first 5.
the first 5 on 5A. Those are all loan guarantee requests.
And annuities are here or just, no?
Yes. They're here.
All of them?
Not all of them.
Some are present.
So these are just for loan guarantee. I know we're trying to push for the 5 o'clock meeting today, right? Or,
No, the recommendation to table it is because everybody listed on this agenda has 1 or 2 or 3 anomalies surrounding their lease award. Without the proper amendments to the law or to the GAR, those actions are considered, I guess, illegal and may potentially result in them being null and voided. So any further approvals or actioning such as improvements will potentially create a higher liability for the
and they
commission.
were already informed, they were informed.
Correct.
So we move to constituent matters or?
It's up to the board. I believe everybody on the agenda was informed,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah, sorry, just hearing you guys talk, but I wasn't informed about any, you were going down the list and you mentioned like the rest of the list has like some kind of a discrepancy, but I wasn't informed of anything, that's why we're here to.
Okay.
What is your name?
E1,
B1 or B1?
She's not a part of the loan guarantee
Not yet.
request.
Or on B or B, okay.
She's not here for a loan guarantee. But right now, we're discussing the loan guarantee, the fives, right? The five?
Yes.
So we're
The
going
first 5 is Cesar Anthony Irago, Nora H. Haida, and Daniel T. Leon Guerrero, Josephine M. Sharp, Sylvester Kena Guerrero, Pedro R. Benito. Those are the 5. And you're Leticia Cruz.
on you or constituent matter. What was the list? We all have that.
We just discussed this. Mr. Priest?
Again, we would recommend to table any discussions. Although, for the Victor Sahagan request, it's not, he's just requesting for a letter that states he cannot, it's requesting for a letter that he cannot build an unregistered property. Although, it's not, well, he shouldn't have been leased the property, but we won't be able to provide him a building permit authorization for the mere fact that it's unregistered.
So it's just a letter
Yes,
informing,
SBA.
yes.
So the, Madam Chairman, members, the board action would be to simply authorize your acting director to write and sign the letter saying
Yes.
no loan guarantee for you.
Okay. So we need to make a motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion, Madam Chair, to authorize the administrative director to proceed and provide required letters to constituents on number 5,
Number
6,
on,
Mr.
but new business number 5, 6,
Yeah, new business number 5.
new business number 5, on item 6,
A6.
A6, yeah. New business A6.
The name of the
Oh,
person.
of Mr. Victor Andrew Song.
are you complete?
Yeah, yeah.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Now for B, which is 5 new business. A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For loan guarantee request to be tabled.
On constituent matter, on B.
No, no, this is
Oh, okay, okay, okay. You need to make a motion?
Yes, sir.
Are you requesting, Mr. Cruz, are you requesting that we table all business, new business, except for number 6 and constituent matters?
Yes, correct.
No, on loan guarantee.
For now, the motion is simply to table new business
1 through 5.
Sub-A numbers 1 through 5. That's the proposed motion, which will require a second and a vote.
But what about constituent matters?
We haven't started on those yet. The motion is to simply table new business, sub-A 1 through 5.
Well, I had just asked him if it was everything. There's no motion yet on the table for
There was a proposed motion to table simply sub-A 1 through 5. That we can withdraw that motion and expand the motion to table additional items, but the motion on the table is the motion on the table is to table new business sub-A numbers 1 through 5.
Who made the motion?
Commissioner Herrera.
I didn't hear it. Well, I will second motion, but I would like to amend to it that we also include old business and new business sub B 1 through 9.
Commissioner Herrera, it's up to you to accept or reject that proposed amendment.
The addition of D, constituent matter 1 through 9,
And old business.
And old business.
to table the entire, in its entirety. And for the reason, because they all have
There's
issues.
anomalies surrounding their lease award. For example, all may have an issue with the award prior to their date and time. The examples that Attorney Miller had given and had spoken to is, that's the prime issue we have with majority of our leases today. Out of the 2,911, only 19 meet the were awarded or applied between 8 o'clock and 8:07. Everybody else is outside of that time. So that leaves 2,800 and some leases that were awarded outside.
And some of these items may be addressed with
With the
245 and
proposed-
246.
Not all leases, but
Yeah.
a lot of leases fall under different categories. Some of them may be awarded prior to their date and time, some of them may have switched their application type, and also to include, some of them are on unregistered property. So one lease can consist of 3 different issues. And, it's not the fault of the lessees, but unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with today. And we have been very active in trying to find resolutions to these issues. We thank the speaker for sending these proposed bills, which I believe is also that derived from the additional or proposed additional authority for the board that we had sent her, I believe that back in July of last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm crossing my fingers, and there are more bills to come that will address all of our problems. Today, as Commissioner Herrera had mentioned about number 6, is we're going through it, and the possible resolution to that is we prepare it, present it to the board to deny the named successor of the grandchild, and then request that the board consider the grandchild to succeed that application, because the law that was just recently enacted allows for the grandchild to succeed. So that we're going through, and if not tomorrow, by Monday, we will be sending Assistant Attorney General Miller an inquiry whether the application, whether our proposed resolution accounts and applies the law properly, to ensure that number 6 won't have to come back to see us other than to make payment and sign her lease, if that's what's going to happen after we review and consider all the laws that are available. But that's a possibility, but until we're done with our analysis and our assessment and we forward it to Attorney Miller for the yay or nay, we won't know, but that's what we're doing now. today, again, any requests that come in for survey authorizations, anything outside of utilities for humanitarian reasons or certifications for public health, GURA, at least now that I'm sitting in the acting director's position or until Mr. Birch comes back, we won't be signing any documents outside of that or other than the letter requested by Mr. Sahagin. And that's to ensure that we do our fiduciary, or at least I do my fiduciary duty to ensure that the commission is not placed or experience a higher liability. So that's one of the reasons why, or that's the primary reason why we're recommending the board to consider to table all the discussions and all the decision-making for the other constituents listed on the agenda. For this meeting.
And we'll continue next month or the next meeting?
In hopes that the proposed amendments are ready already, but even at that, if it's not enacted into law, we will still request to table it until it's enacted into law. The necessary amendments are done.
So there's two things on number 6 and also the SBA timeline. Most of these constituents are asking for loan guarantees because of that disaster loan. That's number 1. So I guess my question is that amendable? You know, the SBA, would they amend? Because these guys are still living under damaged homes.
Understood.
And then the second one would be the retroactivity clause for number 6. Is that number 6 now has not been solved yet?
No, but we've already had reviewed current and existing laws, new and existing laws, to see if we can resolve it in the manner that I had just mentioned, by preparing the staff report for the board to terminate the naming of the successor, the grandchild, but then at the same time coming back and requesting the board to name the grandchild as the successor through the authority granted to that new public law. Speaking to the timeline and the time requirements of SBA, if any constituent would need our assistance in reaching out to SBA to assist or to provide them with any type of letter that will support their extension, we will do so. We will explain what is going on with their requests. We'll try to do as much as we can to assist them to get the extension.
I guess my concern here is the living condition that they're in with a disaster condition. And that means that they're still under a home that's damaged. So I know it's already been 1 year and 13 months since May, or 14 months. So I guess that's the humanitarian part. Because this bill's not going to be finished maybe in 6 months, 6 more months, maybe another 12 months. So I guess with the humanitarian spirit, how human is it for us to continue tabling the constituents that are under the request for loan guarantee? That's my,
Madam Chairman, Commissioner Herrera, if I could interject here. We could, for example, ask each one of these folks who are looking for a SBA loan guarantee to fix up their property, we could ask them to sort of sign a piece of paper that says they understand there's a problem or 2 or 3 with their lease, but they want to go ahead with the loan anyway, and the commission can make no promises as to what might happen tomorrow or down the road, but if they want to borrow some money to fix up the property they're on today, knowing that they might be gone sooner rather than later. If you thought that was a better idea, we could certainly do that.
I see. So that would detach us from the liability of the mortgage, in a sense, you know, on the SBA mortgage. And they'll get into the condition of being in a humanitarian mortgage that's safe, sound, and sanitary. So now we're weighing the economic costs and the human condition costs. I mean, I hear and I understand our fiduciary responsibility, but a lot of the leases here that had leases that were ratified was maybe not to their fault, like you mentioned, and I don't know if it's a class action lawsuit that would start the process to get this thing in a serious condition to be addressed accordingly. Because there's 200 and you mentioned 2,000, only 11 is kind of ratified.
19.
19. So out of the 19, they won't be part of the class action lawsuit. And
Well, we do what the legislature tells us to do, but we also do what a judge tells us to do.
Yeah.
So, however we can get some official direction as to what to do with the problems from the past, all the better.
So you recommend that we bring this in front of a judge?
I will never recommend that you sue somebody, but somebody might sue you.
They
So-
can do it too.
Yeah, so how do we assist in the humanitarian approach? Those that are living under, especially the elderly, and especially the children that are living, and rainy season's coming in, and we got typhoon season coming in, and this is gonna be another cycle.
Again, you all make the decisions. The recommendation of your staff is that the commission don't allow lessees who have issues with their lease to put good money after bad, to add new financial liabilities on top of existing financial liabilities, so long as there is a risk that the lease will be terminated and they'll be told to leave. But none of us know when that date is going to get here. Maybe the legislature fixes these problems for us, maybe they don't. Or the another approach is for, as I just described, is to say to borrowers, lessees, we're telling you that there's a problem with your lease.
Yes.
But if even knowing that the lease could be terminated tomorrow, you still want to make this loan, we won't stand in your way. But if you get ejected from the property, you still have to pay the loan.
Yes, I understand. So may I request that that particular draft of document, at least in one or two forms, be produced? And then we can, at least that's my recommendation. I'm not sure about the two commissioners. And the burden of liability will now shift to the lessee, yeah.
But if
But
I,
at least we're giving them the door to live in a safe, sanitary.
Okay, can I just, do you have anything to say?
Well, I believe I put an amendment to the motion. So that has to be acted on.
Yes.
Okay, second the motion.
No.
Commissioner Herrera, the question for you is whether you accept Commissioner Garrido's amendment to your motion, which is to table essentially the rest of the agenda.
Okay, yes, I do.
So,
So, Madam Chairman, we now have a motion and a second, and we can vote on whether to table the rest of the agenda.
We're going to table number 4, old business, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, constituent matters, number 1, and number 5, new business, A, loan guarantee request, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B,
Constituent.
constituent matters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the
Hopefully, good.
call for the vote.
May I ask a question?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, if I may, since the motion's done, just so we can get clarification in regards to the document that would release the liability of the commission in regards to SBA loans. I think, if I'm not mistaken, those SBA loans were approved contingent on CLTC issuing a loan guarantee. Now, if there is such a document that should be approved and agreed upon, and Attorney Miller, if you can answer this, that would mean CLTC would not be required to issue a loan guarantee anymore, because that's what the guarantee serves as. The commission is backing that loan. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, where SBA expects the commission to pay the loan in the event the lessee fails to pay the loan, even if the lessee were to sign a piece of paper that says, I know that the lease might be terminated, because the guarantee is a separate contract between the commission and SBA, SBA will still look to the commission to make good those loans if payments aren't made.
In the past, we have several SBA loans that we audited. About 6 of them were already foreclosed. And they're with the US Treasury as we check. So how does that parallel with this now? I mean, you know what I'm saying? We have about 119 loans from the past that totaled up to 13 million. And then we were trying to get a loan guarantee. And we have 6 million that guarantees that we have now as an escrow account. So I'm trying to see the parallel where it helps both sides. Those that were given leases back then, 119, it's in the books. And then now the 25 for new Mawar. So you know, it's food for thought. This is not the place for it. Maybe we can go work session.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I understand that everybody who was approved for an SBA loan, that approval was contingent whether you get a loan guarantee from CLTC. But if we're going to go the route of creating a document that the lessee would acknowledge that they'll be responsible, and that CLTC will have no liability, then I don't see, or I don't think either, that the loan guarantee will be needed. But if the lessee goes back to SBA and provides that document, or even and does not provide a guarantee, they may not be approved for the loan. But again, I was thinking out loud and wanted to get the insight also of Attorney Miller and the board, and that's one thing also we'll work on.
Good, and it may be beneficial for us to tie in the SBA attorneys and our legislature on a tri-party collaboration, because we still have people that are in the emergency mode. And that's the whole spotlight.
Maybe like
We can talk about it.
And what I just mentioned to Attorney Miller is maybe they can consider a co-borrower as.
Yeah, all those things, right, that's why I'm saying do the draft, have an option 1, option 2, option 3, collaborating with SBA, legislature, and us, with the executive branch, and we'll see. Because we can't keep hanging this up on the clothesline. We've already been here for 13 months, and we've really put in a lot of time to get this loan guarantee project done. I mean, it's like I'm on comatose already.
Have we come across unregistered land where they're requesting SBA guarantee?
I believe so.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Sogden is one.
Right.
Right off the bat.
3805 is in one.
We,
10121 is one. We got 223 leases on unregistered land.
I believe too, if I'm not mistaken, one of the 3 that we just received might be on unregistered land. But we'll verify, but like I mentioned in the last meeting, we just received a demand letter for payment from SBA
Okay.
that totals in the tune of something of $210,000. But in the July meeting, that will be presented to the board for.
Is that unregistered?
We'll verify. As soon as the report's done at the meeting, we'll share it.
The Guam housing last time was unregistered.
Yeah, the Munoz, Mr. Munoz.
Yeah.
So there are loan guarantees and mortgages made on properties that are unregistered.
So these optional documents that we're saying may be, option again with the tri-party. Guam housing, SBA, legislative land, and our part. I'm pretty sure if man made the law, then man can fix the law. Because it's only man-made. It's not a God's law, so.
You want to open for?
Public comments?
Yeah.
Ma'am, if you can come to the table, sign your name and state your name. Sign in and state your name.
Stars there already this morning.
Be here probably till 8 o'clock. State your name, please.
Hi, I'm Leticia Cruz, and in your agenda, B1. So I was just, you were saying something about tabling the constituency and because there's discrepancy, and we were notified. I wasn't notified about anything.
Your discrepancies of your lease
Yeah.
award?
Yes.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll make sure to schedule you an appointment, and based on your availability, and you can come in and one of the land agents will explain what are the issues surrounding your lease award, so you have a better understanding. I do apologize that you weren't informed of that, but we will make it a point to schedule an appointment for you. After you're done there, you can enter this other side of our office, and we'll get down your information, your preferred date and time, just as long as it's between Monday and Friday and not on holidays. And we'll schedule to meet with you, and we'll go over everything, the issues surrounding your lease award, so you have an understanding.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Cruz, and the CLTC staff, I already signed. I need to understand something, and I think Mr. Cruz can answer this. When I was doing the process of trying to get the loan guarantee, I was told from the office that they need to do all the checking of the property to make sure everything is all there. And when that's all taken care of, then I can get on the board to be put on the agenda. Okay, so that's my first understanding. My second understanding is that when we had previous meetings that I showed up for, we always tabled it because there was no legal counsel to sign any documents. So now that we have a legal counsel, I don't know why we were still tabling it. So first of all, I'm a sickly woman. I left the States for medical referral. I came back because of the typhoon that destroyed my property. So when it rains, it pours, my house is flooded. I'm stage 4 kidney failure right now. I'm being treated by Dr. Raleigh for NGUS cancer, which is the platelets, cancer of the platelets. I have heart issue. And like Mr. Mr. Herrera said, am I gonna wait till I am in that hospital where I'm not able to breathe, and I'm in a coma, or I'm dying? All I want is a house, a place to call home. That's all I want. And all I want is a loan guarantee, a paper saying that I need my land to be surveyed, and a paper saying that I'm able to build. That's it. You've done that on past applicants. You did it. You had one that was in the newspaper, okay? I may not be living in a tent, but if you see my property, Mr. A was there, and Miss Arlene, I think, they inspected. Then when you mention, again, unregistered, what do you mean by unregistered? Because I'm paying property tax and building tax. What do you mean by unregistered?
The property hasn't been titled to the government of Guam.
I don't understand.
So, there's a land registration process it has to go through. At that juncture, people are informed, the government wants to register it into their name, claimants come to that court hearing, the judge will decide who's the actual owner. And
So
then
what is that paper that I get from him that says this property is CHamoru Land Trust and Josephine M. Sharp, BC? What's that paper?
So you're not an unregistered, I don't see it here on your staff report, but there are other people with leases, like who we discussed earlier, and in the previous meeting, who were awarded a lease on unregistered property, which means that it's not titled to Gov Guam, nor it's in the inventory of CLTC, but CLTC went ahead and gave them a lease.
All I'm asking is please, find it in your hearts to help the people that are in sync with all the paperwork and all the documents that you need. Because I keep coming to the meetings and I'm hearing about the Organic Act, and this is what the AG found, and so you guys are correcting it as you go along. I feel that I'm in that okay mark where I think I'm doing everything right that I need to according to the Organic Law, the Organic Act. And I'm just asking, how long more? I waited 1 year? 1 year, and SBA told me that on the 26th of this month, they gave me the extension, thanks to you, by the way, and because we asked for an extension because of this meeting on the 20th. I have another extension on the 26th, and after that, I'm done with the extension. So I won't be able, I have to go back and request again to have them redo my application. I'm already approved with SBA for $200,000 to build my 2-bedroom house. Where I live, I don't know if you are familiar with Swamp Road. So where I live, number one, I just deal with it because it's a property that was given to me, and I only have one neighbor. But everybody knows what Swamp Road is. Everybody knows that it's not a safe place. Even the pastors that came to help me do a little bit of work, they found out, oh, is this a drug place around here? I don't know. Nobody bothers me there, but just the area by itself. And that's why I've asked the mayor change the name, put St. Mary's Road or something, you know? But that's why I'm here, only because I just need for somebody to help me get to where I need to be. I have to go back to the States. I've been here 1 month. I'm seeing Dr. Ambrali, I'm seeing Dr. Rosales, okay, and I'm seeing Dr. Terlai here. So my insurance here does not cover my 20%. So that comes out of pocket. So every time I see Dr. Ambrali, it costs me $600. I have an appointment on the 29th. And I purposely missed that appointment because how am I gonna pay $629 when I'm already paying for my Medicare? So, you know, and that's where I'm at. But, you know, if it can't be done and I have to wait, I have no problem waiting. I've been doing it for 1 year, but I don't know how long I'm gonna be here in this island. I have to go home. I mean, not home, but I'm on medical referral right now. I've got all my doctors back there that's 07 stone. But if I have to wait, I would appreciate a document from your office or something, asking for another extension. I don't know, they'll grant it to me, but I need that, something,
Ms.
just something.
Josephine,
Please.
you mentioned a date, is the 26th June or July?
June. 26 June.
When you're finished there, if we can, we'll have someone get the information again of the individual you're working with. We'll do our best, and we'll provide something to support an extension. And just so the board knows too, we'll reach out to Mr. Lujan, whose office is here at SBA, and also to the as one of the attorneys that the previous administrative director, Ms. Tyrone, had spoke to. And we'll try to figure out in the interim until, and through Attorney Miller, if it's acceptable to SBA to approve the loans that were made without the guarantee until such time as the issue surrounding their lease award has been addressed. But that's something we can do, but we just kind of decide that.
But Mr. Cruz, what makes me any different from those other applicants that you guys already gave a loan guarantee to? Why am I different from them?
What I could say is that at that time when those approvals were made, there was no request to table those decisions. I was not the acting administrative director at that time. And so today, after we go through everybody's file, we consider all the facts, all the laws that are present. We also consider, believe it or not, what you guys go through in terms of putting out money, spending money that may not be recoverable if your lease should be terminated. And so we consider all of those things.
But I mean, I'm one of them, and you see that I'm okay. I have everything that
You did everything, and like I always say, every lessee who has a lease today, it's not none of your faults. It's unfortunate that the way the lease was processed wasn't exactly the way it was supposed to be. And given that it's like that, we have took a proactive approach and had developed or came up with additional authority or amendments to the current law that would address that with our previous attorney, Assistant Attorney Tom. It's just we can't control the timeliness of bills being introduced, but like we mentioned today, Speaker Talahi just sent 2 bills that will be heard soon. We don't have a date yet, but it's to address some of the problems that have been identified.
And how about a document, at least can I get my property surveyed? Can I at least get that? Can I at least get a paper saying, even if you guys don't give me a loan guarantee, can I at least give SBA a paper that say, I didn't even know that I needed this one at CLTC, that we need permission to build on the property. I didn't even know I needed that. I didn't know nothing until these ladies here were good enough to help me and explain to me, Mr. A, You know, so that's how I was getting along with the process. But the most important thing is the survey. If I can just get my property surveyed, so at least I know where my boundaries are at, and a paper saying at least that I can build. Now, if I turn that to SBA and it's not good enough for them and they still want your loan guarantee, then that's them. Because I've talked to Ken. I've talked to Ken Lujan. And, you know, he goes, because their office here is the Guam office. They don't deal with the disaster office. They're not together. I mean, you know, he can give advices, but he cannot interject whatever they have. So anyways, thank you, you know, that having faith and believing and trusting in God has got me through this long. And I continue to do that, and I'm very thankful for the board and all of you here at CLTC. I'm not one of them that's gonna come in here and get mad and cuss, because it's not gonna get me anywhere. It's just gonna make my blood pressure go up. So thank you, legal counsel, for being here. I waited for meetings for you to show up.
Can you provide the information to Justin on your
Okay.
SBA contact?
Okay, thank you. And you all have a blessed day and safe day. Oh,
Next.
I didn't get an answer about my survey and the document. Am I gonna at least get that part?
At this time, that would
Nothing?
require, we won't be able to issue that.
Okay, so I have to wait until July 18th again for your next board meeting?
We will call you ahead of time to give you an update on the status of the proposed amendments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Anita Cruz. I'm number 2 on the old business to be tabled. And so, like what she says, we've waited, or I've been waiting. And Mr. A, the land agent, told me back in June, after the typhoon, when I came in to get a authorization to transfer the property over to me, I mean, the utilities to me, because it's always been under my brother before the transfer was done. The transfer is done over to me. And so I've been waiting like 3-4 years to get that authorization for the utilities. So when the typhoon came in, and I came down again, and I had requested for it to transfer to my name, since I already had the lease. Mr. A said there was a problem with my lease again. I'm being audited, but he went ahead and gave me the authorization to put the utilities under my name because of the lease. So I've also had a authorization to do a survey on the property, which I did, and Mr. Castro died on me before the final map was approved. So and those are the documents that I gave SBA at the time of the signing of the loan. I gave them the copy of the lease, the map, even though it wasn't approved yet, because corrections needed to be done by Mr. Castro. Of course, he never did, because he died. So I went ahead and got another surveyor and put it down at $1,500 to do the survey. But he's telling me now that I need another authorization again from CLT. So I'm at a standstill, and the house is damaged, and the living conditions is not good. I'm having problems with the septic tank now, and, you know, rats, infested with rats, which I've tried to control. So within the time, I've caught about 21 rats in the area, and they've come into the house, and I've tried to secure the house as much as I can, so that they'll stay out. But, yeah, I'm at this point where I'm gonna be one of those clients that need another extension with SBA, because, still, and so from the time that the land agent told me that there's a problem with the lease, and I'm being audited, nothing has been done as far as to try to resolve the problem. I mean, you know, he's given me options, but nothing else. I paid back 10 years in taxes already, okay? I paid the $99 already on the property, the rental, but even, and the lease has been recorded, documented with management. But even though I've done all that, I'm still not able to do anything because the decision comes, the final decision is the board and the director, the AG. And so, you know, each time I come here, I'm always tabled, nothing's been resolved. And it's been a year also. And I'm a single parent here. I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with my, you know, my status here, but my adopted son has signed off on the loan, so it says not just me, you know, and my son is earning good money. So, and the agriculture, because it's an agricultural lease, they've come out and they assess the property also. And so I'm in compliance with everything according to my lease. But like Mr. Herrera says, and I agree with him, the law was made by man, so man can change the law. Why is it that we're being penalized for errors made by the CLT, or the employees when they did, and the commission, you know, agreed with the transfer of the lease. So, but we're being penalized. I mean, we're put in a situation where we're at a standstill. We can't move forward, we can't move back. But yet, we're all, you know, compliant. Most of us are in compliance with what CLT has on our lease, you know, and, but even at that point, nothing's been done to resolve the issue that what's going on with, you know, with this particular file. Have we been able to resolve this particular client? No, we've been table. You know, and we're not getting any younger. I'm 67, I'm retired, I have enough money to pay for the loan that I signed off on, so it's my son. He's 20 years old, he's my beneficiary in case something happens, but he's also on my loan. So my income, his income, you know, I don't see a problem or issue there because, you know, I raised my son. He's not, doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do anything.
Unregistered land?
No.
Yeah.
Stand by.
There are several. One of the issues is that your file was pulled for the audit and there was an issue with the acreage award.
Right.
Okay, all right, hold that thought. So it's an acreage issue?
That's one of them.
Okay. Go
The
ahead.
second one is lease awarded prior to the date and time. The third one is the application switch, the application type switch. Those are the issues.
Okay, so which one's the key, the switch, or is it the size?
All three have bearing that created the anomalies surrounding her lease award. We will set up an appointment with you to further discuss the issues surrounding your lease award. But definitely the acreage award needs to be addressed, so does the other. They all hold the same weight, although the acreage award was pulled by the audit that we went through. So we have to address that too, or else it'll become a reoccurring.
So even if the acreage situation is resolved,
There's two pending issues.
so there's like 5?
Three, the lease awarded prior to the date and time, and then the switch of application type. So one of these bills will resolve the switch of application type.
Switch, what do you mean by switch?
So initially, they applied for residential,
Right.
but
and
then it was changed to agriculture.
Right, so, and so
the law
I signed
doesn't-
off the papers on it.
The law doesn't allow for that, it's silent. But like we said, prior to your case, it's not the constituent's fault. CLTC allowed it, and it happened, so now we're here to try to resolve all those issues. We want to try to prevent any more leases being null and voided by the Attorney General.
Right.
You know, the 102 that have been null and voided, only 16 have been so-called adjudicated. But we're gonna go back and conduct one other review to ensure that the statutes were applied correctly. There's 86 still pending. The board, according to the AG's opinion, has no authority to correct those null and void actions, or those actions that deem the lease is null and void. But Again, the bill, one of the bills we received, would allow for the applicant to switch their application date and time once in their life. We just have to go back and come up with other alternatives or amendments so that possibly the relation of third consanguinity can be considered to be removed. Hopefully, the emergency can be reconsidered and be removed. I'm just speaking out loud. The board hasn't decided yet. But those are the things that we're going to be throwing around and jotting it down and presenting to the board. We're going to present multiple amendments, and the board will be the one to decide. But currently, applying what's in statute today, those are the issues that surround your lease award.
I understand that, and then so, you know, that's where I had Department of Agriculture come out and assess my property too, because according to the lease, I have to plant two-thirds of the property has to be, and it's more than two-thirds that I put, you know, plants down, fruit trees down, so, that's another, you know, issue with the, altogether, but yeah, if we can just get together and try to resolve this, and also my extension for SBA, because it's been,
If I might add, as both you and Commissioner Herrera noted, man made these rules and man can change these rules, but none of the men and women in this room
Right.
make the rules.
right.
The folks who make the
So
rules,
if we can get the directors and, you know, to address this with the senators, or, you know, to put in that amendment, because on our behalf, unless we have to be the one to go down there and ask them, you know, and tell them about our issue. Because I did go to the speaker, and not really much. I mean, the director was the one who changed or they discussed the part where the switch, or you can't give it to your in-laws.
Grandchild.
Yeah, those issues. So, you know, that's about the only thing that they've been able to change up. But
There's
that
two more
had to come
coming.
from you guys to recommend that change.
We have about maybe 6 more that we're working on.
Mhm, okay.
So, for example, here's 2. This is
Okay.
one of the 2 of the 6.
That's
There's
nice,
more.
thank you.
But at least for the past 29 years, at least now we're addressing some. But I have a question. Of the leases, I mean, the loan guarantees that we authorized here, we were all here at that time, with Mauer, how many have we approved?
I
Loan
don't-
guarantee roughly, about 5? Because I know there was like 25 that came in the door, and I think it was only 5 or less than 10,
No, there was about 20.
or 20 that came in the door, or 20 that we approved.
20 that you approved.
Okay, 20.
Then the 5 actually, because Mr. Billy Cruz, 5 were all tabled.
Because of the unregistered land. Yeah,
One
no?
is, 2 is unregistered, yes.
Okay, 2 unregistered. And then the rest are similar to,
Miss Anita, her case is part of the tabled SBA. She's number 2 on the old business.
oh, 2, okay.
She's been tabled since she requested, she was a part of the 26.
Yes, and I've been
Okay,
tabled
so we
since
got
then.
26. We got
Original, initially was 26.
Okay, 26. And of 26, we got 20 that we approved.
Yes, and then the rest, the 6 are tabled right now.
Okay, so this,
So
And then
I've
we
been
have
tabled
the
since the
additional.
beginning.
yeah, and what's with the 4? Just in a nutshell, roughly.
The 4 right now, one
Sorry.
is unregistered.
Okay.
Then you have Miss Anita and Miss Mariano, who, acreage size and then compliance.
And was that Phillipsburg too, or?
He is unregistered.
I see, okay. So we got about 5 to 6 more.
And then Miss Nelson is,
That's like an almond, right?
yes,
The-
that's the almond,
Okay, so we have about maybe out of 26, we got 20 that we approved. And 6 that's on hold, roughly. And here's the logic, right? We approved 20. and I recall this with the past attorneys. We read each land agent's report, and each land agent said the facts, the chronology, the issues. And of course, my first radar that came up was that with the facts, right? From the first 20, everybody had an issue, everybody. But because of the condition, the momentum of the typhoon and the condition of the constituent living under contingent conditions, we went ahead and proceeded. So in the language of liability, right, of the 20 that we did it for humanitarian purposes. Yes, I can say in my part. And then now we got 4 more, and we're putting the brakes on this one. I understand they were different because when we first started with this one, it was Alice Tyron. And then from there it switched over to what's it? Angela Camacho. That's 2. And then John Birch.
Yeah.
And then now Mr. Joey Cruz. So of course, right, the first 3 were turnovers. But of course, Joey's been here for the last 30 years. He has seen, and I used to be a land agent myself back then.
And you're in the report too.
For the,
On her case.
oh,
Dave Herrera, land agent, 2000, January.
and I have no fear.
Site
Because the objective here, right?
inspection,
Don't forget, right?
grazing game, cocks, and vegetation, and a single dwelling on site.
That was under until last year.
Oh, and when I
Yeah.
came
Her
there.
brother.
Yeah,
So
my
that was
brother.
my report.
It's my brother.
So the question is, did they ever survey the land?
I got the authorization and Francisco Castro started doing the survey
But
and.
have you completed? I
No,
know
because
he
died.
passed
He
away,
passed away. so-
but did you hire someone?
I hired Joinas and Associates, I paid $1,500 down, but for them to start, I need a survey authorization. So my $1,500 has been sitting there 6 months, the initial down payment.
And
And so-
this will lead back to why we proposed or we recommended to table any decisions. Just like you stated, you
6
already
months.
put $1,500 down. If you're,
Just to make a
and
correction.
that's only a deposit.
Yes.
And if the issues surrounding your lease award are not addressed, your lease may potentially be voided.
Yeah.
And then you lose $1,500.
But that's why I also.
Is that for the land?
For the survey.
So
Our
in the
deposit.
files, I have a temporary map, survey map. And I believe when I called Department of Land Management, they said there was just one issue and Mr. Castro was supposed to have made that correction. But unfortunately, he passed away. And I've already paid him $1,600. My last one was $500 to be paid once the map got approved. We went through the walkthrough of everything, but like I said, unfortunately, he died from me.
Here's because that's a 2-acre lot, right?
Yes.
And an acre's limit for agriculture.
Depending on when your lease was awarded. So if your lease was awarded after, I don't remember the public law, but anything
Yes,
over half an
public law
acre,
24
it requires legislative approval.
Right.
Yeah,
It never got legislative approval because it had never even
With the
formed
1
that.
acre.
anything over
Yeah.
half.
And when is the, can you get an acre now or half an acre?
You need legislative approval for anything over half acre for agriculture purposes.
Agriculture.
But we'll go back and we'll start from the beginning. So in the beginning, in the creation of our act, there wasn't anything that would identify or delineate if you were awarded a certain piece for commercial or subsistence agriculture. Fast forward to December 98, the law changed, or the act changed, was amended. And anything from half acre below is considered subsistence. Anything greater than half is considered commercial for agriculture. This doesn't include grazing or anything like that, but specifically for agriculture. And then after that, there was another change, and anything that was awarded, anything over half an acre would, for agriculture purposes, would need the legislature approval.
Okay, so she's, you have a home already, right? It's a single dwelling. So for residential, Joey, below half?
Residential up to an acre.
Subsistence, an acre.
For residential, but we try our best not to award anything up to an acre.
So she's got two.
She has two.
So can we, this is a legal question, right? Just do the survey, just take what you need to build your home. And then, go ahead.
But because she has an agriculture lease, she needs to comply with the agriculture terms first. I'm not saying you're not
I am.
yet.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
okay.
saying that you're
Yeah,
not.
okay.
But what has been done in the past, and this is one of the issues we have, we give an agriculture lease, we give you a building permit, we give you a loan, go build your house. The commission just created an obstacle for the constituent because there's no sewer. And then you need septic tank, leaching field, there's requirements for that. So you put a 1,500 square feet home in right smack in the middle of your house, accounting for the driveway, there may not be enough room for you to farm 2/3.
So she can be, or in this case, she, half an acre?
If that's what it is, because I don't know where your house sits, or but,
Well, it's gonna be a new building or something, but
so for example, she was given a half acre lot
that's the requirement for north without sewer.
without sewer, and let's just say it's 1848 times. Miss Cruz would have to farm 2/3, which is about 1,200 square meters of that lot.
On the half acre.
Yeah, which will leave about 616 square meters to put her house, to put her leaching field, and to put her septic tank. If I'm not mistaken, and I don't wanna
She has
provide
three, it says.
wrong information, but,
Three forms.
uh,
They're using three forms.
but for the example of a half acre,
Okay.
you, if I'm not mistaken and I remember correctly, your leaching field needs to be a certain feet away from your property line. After that, there's another distance between your leaching field and your septic tank. And after that, there's another distance between your house and your septic tank. And depending on how big and where you put your house is gonna need a driveway. So we all know that for the front of your lot, there's a setback requirement that's 15 feet from the property line. So accounting for all of those variables, if we allow Ms. Cruz to build her house on an agriculture lease property prior to complying with the lease terms, we just made her fail because she won't be able to do so.
On a half acre.
Not enough land available.
Right, so that acreage has to be increased.
Not necessarily, because the intention of the agriculture was really to farm. We can give as low as 929, a quarter acre lot, but it it will not prevent them from building just as long as you comply with your lease terms. So you need to farm 2/3 of your property. You need to farm so many, down so many trees every year, and
Right.
depending on your lot
Compliance.
size, and all that other great stuff. And, but it's not your fault, Ms. Cruz. We allowed things to happen, but we're just trying to make sure that going forward, everything that's action after your lease award is correct.
Okay, so half acre cannot do.
Not that it cannot do,
Can do.
it just depends how big the house is, or,
No, really, right? Because,
Yeah.
this is a,
Or where it's put,
Yeah.
because they have the house.
it just depends.
yeah, so if she builds a 1,200 square foot or whatever,
It may not be enough. It may not be, I don't
so you
know.
have to increase the acreage.
But we can unless we get legislative approval.
That's what I'm saying, it can, right, because the legislative, no, again, because we're saying, why did we cut it down to half, so we can have more constituents, right? We have 11,000 acres, right? And if the acres can be increased to do a combination of agri and home, and she's on a 2 acre,
2 acre.
2 acre. So what I'm saying, you cut away what needs to, just to get her loan going to build a home. So if the 2 acre can be cut in 1 acre,
There's other issues that surround other than just the lease award, like the application type switch.
I understand, yeah. We're just on the acreage for now.
I don't think the issue of the lease award well, let me step back a bit, but that is one of the issues that's preventing her from getting her loan guarantee, the lease award, because it's been identified through the audit that that lease award wasn't approved by the legislature. But in addition to that,
Oh, wait. Let's say that we get it through the legislature and it's approved. What happens?
there's still 2 more issues surrounding her lease award, which is her
Switch?
date and time, and then the switch of application type.
So we got one bill for the
Alright.
switch
Yes,
and date and time,
yes.
so that will resolve that.
If we resolve all the issues.
Just 3, right?
Yeah.
No, so we
We
take,
don't, there's no proposal to solve the date and time issue.
Yeah,
no, this is the switch only.
but I think he mentioned if that comes out.
Yeah, date and time is being worked, we need to resolve that, because we don't do that, right? We've done this, I was here since 2020. We started this back in 95, but the public law was at 75. So it's almost 50 years, right? And 50 years, this is a 50-year-old program. This child is a mature child. I mean, this program is 50 years old, and this is not acceptable. If we're doing a development, this is not acceptable at all. And if we need to go to the legislature and say, there's constituent A, B, or C, what do we need to do? If it needs an amendment, right, then let's do it, because 50 years was like a blink of an eye. I mean, I could have retired if I stayed here. You know what I mean? But I'm not looking for retirement, I'm looking for progress to complete the mission of Mr. Rodalio's mission back in 75.
But he didn't have all that problems.
No, because it was, you see,
Sometimes the laws should not be clear so you can manage things, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes the laws, too much law is not too good.
yeah, and again, my personal feeling is the humanitarian part. I mean, we look at all
Well,
the,
we all sympathize.
she's got rad. I'm gonna bring, I don't wanna bring myself into this one, because I'm in the worst predicament. I'm basically homeless today because of Typhoon Mawa. But am I lining up here and knocking on the door? No, I'm fine, I'm independent. So, but the families here with children, the families that are elderly, I'm 70 years old, so, but I can still move. But what about those that came here with a liver issue? You follow what I'm saying? I mean, I rest my case. I think I've been talking too much.
So we need the legislative approval for the 2 acres, and
We need some
faith and hopefully
assistance.
she will assist me here, because more than 2/3 of the property is being planned on. And, I even have under the cottage, that we can do, I also have a dowry. There's so many things that, and my first goal is to get a home for my family and my grandkids, because they don't have a mother. My daughter passed away, so I've got 5 grandkids that you know, I try to show them and teach them how to live up the land. They don't have grandparents either. I'm practically the only grandparent.
And that's exactly where I'm merging into this case where she needs a home. She's got somebody that can succeed the other acreage, cut what's needed to build a home. And the other part, you make your child or grandchild that's already of age to apply that part. I mean,
I have five grandkids, and I don't have any other, that was my only child, my daughter that passed away. So I've got the first two oldest, and then I adopted one. The third one doesn't have only has a grandma and grandpa and father. The two youngest only has their father, no more grandma, grandpa.
and you say you had a co-applicant for your home.
Yes, my son.
And that's what I'm saying, with that 2 acre, if the co-applicant can take care of that part,
Yeah, and
separate, take care of your
yeah,
financial
exactly.
responsibility.
It's all up to the legislature now and to the board if they can.
Madam Chairman, members, I mean, we really did frankly table her item, so.
I know, I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry.
she's entitled to express her concerns, but we really do need to not spend any more time on her specific situation.
Thank you so much, though, for your time.
We can take your info and then we can set up an appointment
Yes.
and explain if there's any clarification needed.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you so much for your time, like
thank you. Ma'am, you can go this way if you need to. Cruz,
Sign.
please sign your name.
State your name.
And then say your name.
First of all, can you guys speak to me? Yeah.
You don't, you're speaking to them, so don't worry about me.
In the hunt.
Miss Martina, can you just speak a little louder?
Oh.
Just so we can hear you in the record. Thank you.
Estás seguindo estas barras, Williams? Williams, yung iban makus po na sensyado. Sa kung naman wasa mas in regla pa po kasi bringe yung todo para nizo karong espalda no profissional do para na medir wasa no gaigizo de kanai e agricultura na no contrata gini ni manenado the Podungo Vigilina Organic Act of 1950 is first generation of the one zone penetration. Babitatizi mona na nonta tao no salaniani tilikuna pabigo pino no rikune pano ofan stila totsulo zumau ofan mananau birania za ililenya si Mr. Cruz no para bizuru mommy lo pinkarel tsumoni no lo ngano spieta official linea da izolo ti gogo no pagifan bino kulunguma san todo ne basta guma ni lo sonko jinama pano lo tumogia i alidi pes mazura zu dini pidirat para sanindo gigima pes alguna hora estando mamaila y pomar neba y talu y gualo ya no mazura zo kini salopi di pabi continua todo disei malmalingo di durante mawon no sa tita gogo zo na rin na ino ginago no kwa Terus masensya tu talu zo nangga. Jadi istilah selopi guys malagu juga dipaksa di bangku. Malagu tu di pamamu apa malagu yo. Unang nangga tu kena izo neji por masevero tano stamalimu zo ni masensya zo neji tauto ni amala zo di dia posi zo ma ajuda ni ma nidi ilva. Lo malimu tu sta neji sta samaru zo na. Gano basta sa panan ti formodo lo ti sinyo sama ni gini ni situation no ni amju gini sa pumasensya ju zo na nangga ju
to na isa lapis na.
ide sa lekona be nangga ne zo reklo todo jadi be basta sa mono ni ba be basta ji sa lapi ni mananjo na ju kare lo
200 lopi manayo. 200,000.
Mana?
Para igima.
Timan bitibi zo timan wawawo zo
O para media, no?
Babita tija i se esta situação se não mana possibili guami todo né diga nagago ji agar no mar comenda pun sogi ni kon mana ini keturunan ni kada sakkan kon mana ini ji lelenya baru fight no farming pada di fun CHamoru no solo imu na pangwaluan no pangwaluan pues jangin babita tija ne zo Municita bina mamili lo watsa angin udo ustira uzo ni sama ikenanum toro mo zama tu tali gaga asufa tora kamu ikenanum babu ini igre leko matsali na babu jigi kumakanu toro ikenanum kamu pues no taza malago de nama midi lo wat Zawasta di warung aja gagal sekarang zo kalau mungkin nih, no, sesuatu aja nih isti segini di mana nahu ani waktu kumusya gini di walu, jadi itu wawo apa mas itu wawo susah bukan lo babifan long babifan didi, long slash didi, no, pula jadi coba apa nasinya Jadi naservia alfa mana iu di kedira. So agradeço, né? Enggak. Já eu não gasta. O afatamano ni sine em reklasa. O liza no si senador no sanabus pilenya. It's not your way, but there's a way we can do it. We can manage to do things. Then jauh kini lingmu ni na
reglamento tau sina pumamoli.
Unggan le di sini tahu ke artificial intelligence robot anu lingmu ni rancu lo office ini cekin istina situation sa pau no orang mengkaji tori kenanu gini seta
Oh, ibadi.
di sini yang pega papa sama foto bagusnya kan apa nu todo kenan jangan malingo nih sampai malingo kalau loki panu nih
Kayo mana na pala?
gagi ugi 188 stamper road dito
Moli ko dami yan.
muli deh
Gaga, no? Tuti zuri na gaga.
Jadi kalau datang ke sekolah nih waktu jadi foto ke sekitar itu pesu lo fafai senam juga dress forgot ada juga fan retire dokter you know juga samsu sa 72 an ya semua lo tianung na 72
Oh, lansero so.
sa life na manamo no
Lansero.
wala ni
Bulay sa dimantika na.
Este mah ya se torna todo
Okay, you explain that.
Oh, she's asking us for a survey.
Survey authorization. I understand.
Yeah,
All
so-
she's asking for is survey authorization.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for any loan authorization or loan or whatever.
We're working
That's
on
all.
it.
Yeah.
Magtimang na sila.
There's, the reason why we also requested to table, and it, like Ms. Cruz had said, she just inherited from her parents. Ms. Cruz has been, based on what she has told us through our discussions, she's eager to plan if she hasn't already started planting. We did advise her that she knows where her neighbors' markers, please don't self-inflict your threat. Like, yeah. So,
bulldozer. Sufane I mohon tauto ni alpas tahu itu. Jadi itu di situ bila tuan itu alfa na gagi gini, tiga gitu gini pagi aku problema gagi gini pagi fanggawa mo azudu jadi boleh mona di sini mona. No. Sa itu tu gaya para problema penimu. No.
No encumbrance on this?
there's issues regarding the lease award, and that's why, again, we asked to table it. One of the issues is that the original applicant, who was Ms. Cruz's mom, and then what had happened was it was deemed based on the documents. And again, Ms. Cruz, it's not to your fault. You inherited property, you're utilizing it to the best of its ability. Although the original applicant, the documents that were provided, and I'm just reading from the report, were not sufficient to qualify the original applicant. So what had happened was a lease was executed to the original applicant, and then from there it was transferred by to Mrs. Cruz, which is her daughter, which wasn't supposed to be done to begin with. Any ineligible applicant should have been informed, and that application should have been determined ineligible. And but that's not the case. That's not what had happened. They did not deem the applicant ineligible. Instead, they gave a lease, and then they took that lease and transferred it to Mrs. Cruz.
And she's eligible?
No problem.
Before 1950. Di Cruz na. Ba't mo tatanggi yung mansuli ni Federal?
When I eligible sa Taubio di 1950 prior act ni.
Ay, lo ba tanong na si tatanggi yung mansuli ni
We haven't,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but we haven't, we did discuss the new eligibility, the one where you were to fill out your family tree to see if you had any land takings, but that part wasn't done yet with Ms. Martinez. She hasn't submitted remember the new law that we discussed?
The family tree form.
Where you submit your family tree, and then we'll see if there's any land takings.
I'm retired for
Because when she took over the lease, the law had not come into effect yet. So she took over the lease at, like in 2019. So the qualifications was based on 75.
So who was the initial, was her father,
Her mom.
Her mother.
her mother?
Because my
Was
mother.
she eligible?
Based on the documents that were provided and the report, she was ineligible.
She's my father's wife. For 50 years, they're under the golden anniversary. Asawa na si Tataw. Dahil ikustong no dos masaba ni walang gani ni nabi kalaon mo walang gani pagtog. Si Tataw tatao ne muna isi na no autoridade no gidi palavra na costum binantes ne gidi palavra algo se quiser jogo no se jogo jogo que é igual ninguém virou se tatao tico me que lena na guaba vai tini mas na para o homem tu atende existe guaba na inaso o atende existe oficina tá jogo para não ligar nada.
Joey, is it a citizenship issue?
So the thing is, when Miss Martina's mom applied, the documentations that were submitted was her father-in-law, which is Miss Martina's grandpa and father. Those are the documentations that were submitted for the original applicant. So based on those, that it wasn't Miss Martina's mom's documentation. Her birth certificate wasn't submitted, or her qualifying documents to show that she was a native, right, to Guam. What was submitted was Miss Martina's dad's birth certificate and then her grandpa's birth certificate. So that wouldn't qualify the applicant, the original applicant, because that's the father-in-law and the husband.
Lene di Palawan di Sanilo, dini stava gifinina lene na eligible Miss Martina sa si tatao si dini na tatao mo.
Maybe for you.
Ay sa sinanaw mo asabuana si tatao mo.
If Miss Martina was to apply, she would have been eligible.
Ganda.
But the process it took was, it was Miss Martina's mom who applied. Miss Martina her mom based, Miss Bernadita, based on the documents submitted, did not make her eligible for the program. But what the commission did was, instead of informing Miss Bernadita that she is an ineligible applicant, they gave her a lease. And then after that, they transferred the lease from Miss Bernadita to Miss Martina. So from that day to present, Miss Martina has been trying her best to do everything she possibly can based on what we've been telling her. Upon her request and further review of the file, we have discovered and determined that the issues that I just mentioned affects her lease award. So that is why, again, we asked to table Miss Martina's request because Miss Martina has a lease issued to an applicant who was ineligible for the program.
And then Martina was awarded. Thank you, Lord. Awarded federal grant every night. I said, no, I want to go to, the mall and enjoy that cash flow. I'm thinking of the future.
Why was her mom not?
Because the document she submitted was for her husband and her husband's father. It was not the parents of
my
Miss
mom's secretary
Bernadita.
at the time, and she keeps telling
So
me
the
that
spouse
she's doing good.
was not qualified?
Miss Bernadita, the applicant, was not qualified. But the document she submitted based on the report and what's in file is that of her husband's and her husband's father. So the husband, if the husband applied, he will qualify based on those documents.
No, si
But-
tatao me don't do paperwork. My mom is.
But it was Miss Bernadita who applied, but the supporting doc she provided does not make her qualified for the program at that time through the native CHamoru qualification. Today, I believe that's why they had asked Miss Martina to fill out the family tree so that they can at least prepare and do whatever research that needs to be done. In the event other or further actions or further qualification is needed, we have everything.
Naulan tungkol kanila. Kami po inadudaw sa pinananaro.
Ay, nga na jurado sa gasa dokumento nga no 1995 kung ano sa parato pa po ni magana po matan sti. still, I can turn around and show you guys, if I'm gonna speak English here, I can turn around and lose, you guys gonna lose? So I have a proof. Now, you guys are the one that contact my mom. This in a no more than you guys are the one that contact my mom. And there's a proof from the social media, which is a newspaper, a form of communication, can come in a radio, right? Announcement, newspaper, whatever you call it, no? But I'm not looking for problem here, I'm looking for, solution here. I'm not looking for problems, I'm not looking for faults, I'm looking to move forward. Forward. Okay?
Again, Madam Chair, because we've tabled her specific case,
Yeah.
we can't move forward today.
Decision, no problem.
I know, at least, you heard from me.
Yeah, we'll hear from you again
And
next month.
giving everybody, because I don't wanna just, barge in and just say whatever I want, and I don't know you guys, but today I found out that sometimes there's ways that we can deal with it, So there's always a way to deal when it comes to, humanitarian. Do often humanitarian if you CHamoru?
Not don't.
Unggan ni? No? Esta unggan panafata puni umuzunzo manamayo ye skiseo zi bantilele ko ana bandan mana tigaulu dan mana zi sagadno ko sto chogino usagi da jao no nanga moda sa lana se gagan man manugo no kya ngi walu me tiline ko uso blog jo de di gege gizi tatini body suni ma kon mu to
They're terrible.
yeah
Call it that way next month. Document.
y comprendía el tiempo no era tan más molina en el mundo, y se veía. Los cine se veía, no sé qué no hay como se veía. Malinhos, né? De como se diz, eu vou dar para uma paciente.
Can this lead to a different survey?
Senior,
Huh? Senior?
I'm a surveyor, but I'm not like seriously. I can compute your debt operation, but
What can,
legal counsel is saying this where you have no
Well,
action.
Well, one thing for sure is that we'll go back and see whether Ms. Cruz could be considered a preoccupier, which is authorized in law. And then we'll go from there and determine what can be done. And then we'll discuss with you further what the possibilities are. But again, we do apologize that we cannot issue a survey authorization yet.
Ay, tigot pinesa. Necesita binanggal ko si Mr. Herrera sa legal di ba? Ko ako.
And what soon?
Suni. Uno niyo na supply.
Suni nagaga.
Tanan din. Ayun yun.
So, but we'll keep in contact.
Excuse me the language, but it's official here, what, Nothing bad, everything is good. So thank you very much. Maraming mo todo mo.
We'll be in
Not
touch.
yun.
Sabi ako na yung nakilan sa sitwala. Ano yung sana no? Sitwalang baboy.
Wake up at balok.
Nasigura rin yung gimili ako na.
Basta pitado yan.
Okay, thank you ulit.
Next.
Masi. Pues está, no, Jessica, no, hay un meeting, no?
Yes.
Maybe. You need to extend this office, because you cannot walk into my. Just once, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Ma'am, if you could just sign in and state your name.
I did.
Okay.
My name is Elizabeth. My last name's Rome. I'm not gonna beat around the bush, because I know all the laws that you guys are handling. It's very hard to tear the knot. So I made a decision that I'm gonna turn my house in and send it back to you guys. Since I cannot do any survey, because even if I do a survey, I'm gonna be caught right on the land management, because my property is only a quarter lot. That's one. Two, in order for me to qualify, I need a sewer to come in, and I do not know when that's gonna happen. So the final decision that I really made, and I made this long and hard, that I gotta let go of something that I really love so much, because you guys' hands are tied. So I'm turning my house in, so you guys can buy it from me, so I can move forward. My husband's not here anymore. It's just myself. My kids are moving forward. They have their own life. And I kind of keep holding my life, because you guys' rules and regulations are caught. We always have to go down to the legislature, because they're the law. But tomorrow is not promised for any one of us. We're all human. We're gonna leave this soon. And we ain't gonna take the land up to heaven, nor even our money. But we either enjoy our life, or we're gonna stay like this. Because there's too much rules and regulations. When they gave us the land, this wasn't told. I did all the rules and regulations, but when I came back in here, when my husband passed away, they told me that I failed one rule, is the surveyor. But the surveyor died. So I'm back to square one. I was trying to survey it, but I need to go to the board to have approval for survey. So I've been coming in and out, listening to the same story, but I do not want to waste nobody's time, because I'm pretty sure you guys won't go home. So I'm turning in my documents saying, please, buy my house for me so I can move forward, because I might die tomorrow, which I'm not asking God right now, but we're not promised tomorrow. That makes sense?
Yes.
We're all growing old. We're not going to take the land. We can keep fighting for the land that is not ours. It belongs to St. Mary here that owns the land. We're only borrowing the land to make us live. There's only one parent that we have is up there. We're only trying to survive down here. And I cannot keep holding something that I do not own, because I'm not going to bring it up to heaven. And every time I come in here, it's the same, not, well, Mr. Cruz here cannot provide anything, because he's only acting. We've got the legal counsel, but he cannot do anything because his hands is tied. So we're going back and keep going around in a circle, and I've been listening, and I really made my final decision. I cannot keep doing what you guys are doing. I keep sitting here and listening to everybody's story, and I'm hurting inside, because I see them. They're asking help, and none of you guys can sign the help. Somebody has a rat infestation. Somebody has problem, sick. I just came back from Hawaii and taking care of my son because he had surgery. I'm looking my life in the future. I can't keep doing this. I'm ready, at the same age as you guys are now. So I gotta let go of my house. I love it so much. My husband built it for me. But you guys, we keep going around in circles. And there's no answer, no solution. You guys are still going back to square one, which is the legislature. So we're never gonna go nowhere. I might not see Mrs. Vidal tomorrow. Nor you. So I am begging. Buy my house so I can move forward. My kids are already growing old. My grands are already as tall as, they're taller than me. My husband passed away when he's already 4 years. I'm looking at the same house. I'm not moving anywhere. I know that there's another rule that I have to have an approval from you guys. I believe so. And I have to do the appraisal. 2 appraisal. Then you guys have your own appraisal to do that. I want to be fair. It's hard to build something and let go when all your hard work is there. My house is built for a handicap. My husband was paralyzed. I was taking care of him. So that house is a handicap house. It's equipped.
Is it disabled compliance?
Yes,
The restroom that.
everything. Walk-in closet name. The hallway is 4 feet wide. The space outside, you can run around 10 times because of the VA that made it happen. Because my husband's paralyzed. He served the service, and I cannot keep dwelling on it.
To our legal counsel's concern, so how do we handle this one? This is just on public comment for now, so we cannot, yeah.
Sir, if I may, what we'll do is we'll accept her letter. Since she wants to terminate the lease, we'll package the report. We'll discuss with Ms. Rabon what's needed to be done. I do know that there's appraisals that are required. And then from there, we'll present it to the board for their acceptance and adoption of the value of the improvements. And then we will also discuss that with Ms. Rabon so she understands this is the appraisal report, this is what came back. But in terms of who's supposed to get it, let us go back to the act and we'll go through it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll let you know whether the expenses is borne on you or borne on us.
Mm-hmm. On which one?
For the appraisal.
The appraisal?
Yes, ma'am.
To my understanding, the supervisor said I need 2 appraisals from my site.
Okay, we'll
And
just
then
verify.
appraisal on your side?
You validate.
We'll verify.
Yeah,
And then we'll let you know, we'll let you know by tomorrow.
okay.
And then we'll go from there. And then we'll get it appraised and we'll discuss the value with you prior to presenting it to the board.
Okay.
So,
I love my house, guys. If you ever go to my house.
and Michael's,
Michael's my
Joseph
husband.
is okay. Rabon.
We're not solving anything, we keep going around in circles. And I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing the same story. Mr. Cruz here is trying to be lenient enough, but actually, all the people back here close their ears because they don't want to hear that. Because they want something from you guys and you guys cannot give.
At least I'm very open to everybody's concerns.
Right.
You know, 'cause
But
again,
I'm sitting here and my heart is hurting because I know how they feel. And you cannot give something that it cannot be done. So they're walking home here now, going home, and
yeah.
they're sad because it didn't happen. So that happened to me. Every time I walk out this door, I go to my car and cry because I don't have my husband to talk to. I'm talking to the car because there's no solution to it. I went to Hawaii and came back, and they still didn't find a solution. So my daughter did this for me, the letter, because I already made my decision.
That's a big decision, so.
It's a big house. I gotta let it go. You guys cannot help me. I don't want to give it up, but it's gonna end up that way because guys' hands are tied too.
So one, there's no mortgage on the home, no, there's
The
no,
house is paid off.
uh,
I already paid the property tax for 99 years.
from the VA, it's a VA.
It's a VA house.
Okay,
It's paid off after my husband passed away.
okay.
They did the house for him because he's disabled.
Well, it's,
So I do not know whether you guys gonna disapprove me or what, I really don't know, but I wanna walk out here with some answers. I don't wanna go to my car and keep crying, because after I spoke to him, that's what I did in my car.
If I may, since you submitted your letter and you're requesting to terminate the lease,
Yes,
based on the act,
because I cannot put my name on the lease, that's another problem, because of the surveyor.
the process of the act is we'll get it appraised, and then the value will be determined. And then we'll discuss that with you, and then we'll present it to the board.
Mhm.
This time, because the item has been tabled specifically for you, this is just your opportunity to, for your comments, but the board won't be able to make any decision.
I know.
Yeah. So, but definitely tomorrow, we will
At least you heard
communicate.
me today.
We'll communicate with you, we'll give you an update. We will verify the appraisal part, whether you need to pay for it or do we pay for it, but we'll confirm that and we'll discuss that with you
I
tomorrow.
wish you say you pay for it, it'll help me,
If in the event that is true, there's a process for us to go through
because
procurement.
I'm only one. I don't have my spouse anymore.
Understood. But we'll go with what's in the act and what we're allowed to do, and we'll share that information with
Okay? At least I'm going home hearing you say that. I don't have to go home and hear you say, no, cannot do that.
you. You're more than welcome to call me anytime, and if you have any questions, I'm here to.
No, I don't wanna waste your time, because I know you have a lot on the agenda on your list. And I'm just one of the, person that's trying to, actually not beg for mercy, but somewhere.
No, there's no need. Just call me if you have any questions. I'm
Mhm.
here.
Okay, now you guys hurt me, I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, though, I appreciate it, and I know what you guys are doing. And this, back in 1995,
Yeah.
the story is still here. And have everybody pass, and we're still moving forward, but we're still stuck. And I don't know how many typhoons already passed, and these people,
And we got typhoons coming again. so-
it's scary, it is. Pretty soon they might not have a house. The portion of it is gone. I'm blessed because my husband built me a concrete home, but still, we're on this, all the square ones that we're still sitting down on. So I don't want to take most of you guys' time. Thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. I cannot tell you that in tomorrow, but I'll speak it in English. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not good in tomorrow, guys. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Enjoy you guys' evening.
Any comments?
That concludes our public comments.
Motion to adjourn.
Before, if I may, Commissioner, I'm going to go down to the legislature. I've already provided the speaker with the board's testimony discussed at the previous board meeting. I will go down there and provide oral, which is just to read out the written testimony that was submitted. And then if there's anything that should occur while we're there, we'll take note and provide feedback.
There's going to be a lot of activity there, so I'll be joining you also for moral support, and I guess I'll just say a short word in testimony before next to.
Also, just so that the board is informed, collectively, the employees, we prepared our own testimony. That also will be shared with the legislature.
Okay.
And of course, the employees are not speaking on behalf of CLTC or the commissioners, and we ensured to specifically state that. But we just wanted you guys to be aware of that collectively we did prepare a testimony.
Okay. And as individuals or as?
Collectively as a group.
Okay. For the land trust? Or?
For the employees.
I see. Okay.
Not for the land trust or the board itself, just the employees.
That would be on public or private presentation, no?
No, it will be, because we will be providing oral testimony for the, so, yeah, that's just so you guys are aware, courtesy to the board members. So that's all.
So we're welcome to join the public hearing.
Motion to,
Madam Chair, I propose, I'd like to put a motion on the table that we adjourn
Maybe next week.
until next month's regular board meeting.
Okay, second the motion.
all in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Motion carried.
The date and time, did you say what time?
What's the calendar?
The 20th.
Oh, it's 3:46 PM. No, the time we adjourned.
The time of the adjournment.
But the next meeting date?
July 18.
July 18th.
July.
That, we can discuss it later, if we have to rearrange the schedule, then.
Yeah, because I would.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody else.
Five o'clock.